Since I was a little kid, soccer has been my passion. I could play all day without getting tired. I loved the feeling of running across the field, passing the ball, dribbling past defenders, and especially scoring goals. Every time the ball hit the net, it felt like magic. I dreamed of becoming a great player, one who would make history. I imagined myself in big stadiums with thousands of fans cheering my name. But there was a problem. I could only shoot well with my right foot. At first, I didn't think it mattered. My right foot was strong. My shots were fast and accurate. Every time I had the chance to score, I used my right foot. And most of the time, it worked. But as I grew older and played in more difficult matches, I started to notice something. The defenders also noticed. They knew that I always used my right foot. Every time I tried to take a shot, they blocked me. They forced me to move to my left side, where I was weak. It was frustrating. I wanted to help my team, but I felt stuck. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't use my left foot. It felt awkward, like it didn't belong to me. Every time I tried to kick with my left, the ball went in the wrong direction, or it didn't go far enough. One day, after another tough game where I couldn't score, my coach pulled me aside. He had a serious look on his face. "Mateus, if you want to be a great player, you need to use both feet. If not, defenders will always know what you are going to do." I nodded, but inside, I felt unsure. How could I learn something that felt so unnatural? How could I train my left foot when it was so much weaker? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what my coach said. I didn't want to be predictable. I didn't want to be an easy target for defenders. I wanted to be the best player I could be. So the next day, I made a decision. After practice, while my teammates packed up and went home, I stayed on the field. I placed the ball on the ground, took a deep breath, and kicked with my left foot. The ball went sideways, completely off target. I tried again. This time, the ball barely moved. I clenched my fists. It was frustrating. I felt like a beginner again. But I remembered why I was doing this. If I wanted to improve, I had to keep going. So I kicked again, and again, and again. At first, nothing changed. My shots were weak, slow, and inaccurate. But I didn't stop. Every day after practice, I stayed longer. I kept practicing my left foot, even when it felt useless. I kicked until my leg was sore, until my muscles burned. Little by little, I started improving. My shots weren't as weak anymore. They weren't perfect, but they were getting better. I started feeling more control over my left foot. After a few weeks, I finally hit a strong shot with my left. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. By the time the championship arrived, I was feeling more confident. I wasn't afraid to use my left foot anymore, but I had never used it in a real game. Would I be able to do it under pressure? The final match. The stadium was packed. Fans were cheering loudly. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. This was the championship game. Everything we had worked for came down to this moment. The game was intense. Both teams were strong, and no one was giving up. The score was tied 1-1. We were running out of time. Only 2 minutes left. Then, suddenly, my chance came. A teammate passed me the ball right outside the penalty box. The goal was in front of me. This was my moment. I looked up and saw the defender coming towards me. He was fast. But I knew what he was thinking. He expected me to cut to the right. Everyone knew I was right-footed. He was ready to block my shot. But in that instant, I remembered all my training. All the late nights, kicking alone on the field. All the times I failed. All the moments I wanted to quit but kept going. This was it. I faked right, making the defender move that way. Then, instead of using my right foot, I quickly adjusted my body and kicked with my left. As soon as my foot made contact with the ball, time seemed to slow down. I watched as the ball flew through the air. The goalkeeper dived, stretching as far as he could. But it was too late. The ball went straight into the top corner of the net. Goal. For a second, everything was silent. I couldn't believe it. Then the stadium erupted. Fans were screaming. My teammates ran toward me, jumping, shouting, hugging me. I had done it. I had scored the winning goal with my left foot. The final whistle blew. We were champions. I fell to my knees, overwhelmed with emotion. I looked up at the sky, took a deep breath, and smiled. That goal wasn't just about winning the game. It was about proving to myself that hard work pays off. That even when something seems impossible, with enough effort and perseverance, it can be done. That day, I learned something important. If you keep trying, if you never give up, you can achieve things you never thought possible. Perseverance always wins.